well for you. You may be having challenges, difficulties. But I just want to encourage you. Worrying, brooding, hurting, and even hating, you know, surely won't settle it. It won't solve it. Give thanks to God. If not for anything at all, for life. And then pull yourself together. Go on your knees and ask Him for grace. Ask Him for comfort. It surely is well. Be encouraged, it is well. Good morning. This is Home Affairs here on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Adam Knight T. This morning, Abeku Sankofi is here supporting me. And you do know that we have a very, very, very interesting and important conversation coming up. A peep into the marriage of a feminist. Someone asked me yesterday, Adam, what's bringing this up? So we've been having a series of conversations, and it's part of the series of conversations. You hear people say every day that, hey, as for this person, dear, then her husband is suffering, no? Are their husbands really suffering? I am glad that they're letting us into their homes, though. Just so we understand this whole issue of feminism and how it applies to marriage. Somewhere last year, a video popped up on The Guardian. And here's a statement from that video. It says, "You cannot be a feminist and get married because the institution of marriage curtails women's freedom." And then another feminist writes something about it. She says, really? Ouch. Powerful statement, isn't it? And yes, in some communities, sadly, this is true if we're talking specifically about child and forced marriages. Absolutely, yes. And these are prolific issues still ongoing within certain communities that need much more work to be done to eradicate. But can the same be said of all women? I guess not. And she actually says absolutely not. Feminism essentially means equality in black and white. The advocacy of women's rights on the ground of equality of the sexes. So, can you be a feminist and still get married? She says, I believe so. With equality, with equal rights, we have the beauty of choice. Being a feminist doesn't mean we're solely masculine. It doesn't mean we hate men. It doesn't mean you have to be female. It doesn't mean you can't be feminine. It doesn't mean we can't celebrate traditions that mean something to us. And it certainly doesn't mean we're devoid of romance and oppressed by marriage. Ooh. Says we share the chores. I cook, he cooks. We both do household chores. We help each other with DIY. Our household is not run on outdated gender roles. So do I feel marriage has oppressed me or made me unequal to my husband? No. We must absolutely define the rules that govern our relationships and our marriages. If you're feeling unequal in your relationship, it's time to do some groundwork and it's time to start having some communications. Eish. But is this the true position of every feminist? Some actually make it look like you have to hate men. Some actually make it look like you have to be at war with men. And that begs the question, can you have that position? Can you be a feminist and still be married? And the greater fear also is that there are lots of young people now who are confused. They're not sure what the right thing is. Traditionally, the man is supposed to be the head, or he is the head. Yes, I know, headship doesn't mean that you should be an oppressor. But do we really, as feminists, allow our men to lead for us to follow? Or it always has to be because we're asking for equality, equal rights. Okay, lead 50% and let me lead 50%. Is that it? We will get answers.
To everybody who believes there's no dream you can't achieve, you can have it when you want, and then sing this song. I love my life this way. Indomie, love it your way. Yes, go on and love it your way. Indomie, love it your way. Yes, I love my life this way. You are the master of your fate, with your heart and your mind full of grace. There's no mountain you can't climb when you sing this song. I love my life this way. Indomie, love it your way. Yes, go on and love it your way. Indomie, love it your way. Yes, we all love Indomie. Indomie instant noodles. Taste great.
Read the information on the gas cylinder to be informed of proper care. Always store gas cylinders upright on a stable platform with a valve on top. Keep cylinder installed at ground level. LPG cylinders should be handled with care. Do not roll or drag a gas cylinder on the floor. This can cause an explosion. Stored cylinders should be in a well-ventilated area and kept at a safe distance. Gas cylinders should be transported in an upright position and secured firmly. A message from the National Petroleum Authority. Use it safely and
Madam Acheba, the recent test shows your cholesterol level has normalized. You've stopped eating those fatty foods, eh?
Doc, in Chichorina. Oh, I've reduced it significantly.
That's very good.
Mara made change in my diet input. I now eat beans, garden eggs, okra, and the likes.
Really nice.
And when I cook with oil, I use Frito vegetable oil. It's a cholesterol-free oil and fortified with vitamin A.
Well done, Madam Acheba. Because you see, Fritol is also the only vegetable cooking oil endorsed by the Ghana Medical Association.
She, Mara Mabino, Mabin Dread. Enjoy great tasting meals with Fritol, your cholesterol-free cooking oil fortified with vitamin A and endorsed by the Ghana Medical Association. Fritol, love your food, love your life. This advert has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Well, praise God, I'm excited to announce to you that Impact 2018 is in town. From the 25th of November to the 2nd of December, 3 services on Sunday the 25th, prophetic services in the morning at 9 a.m. from Monday throughout. Then the evening meetings, speakers, Bishop Jackie Makala, the U.S., Bishop Michael Pitts, Toledo, Ohio. Reverend Eastwood Anaba, Bolgatanga. Prophet Victor Kusibwate, Kumasi. And myself, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. The atmosphere is charged and conducive for angels to descend and ascend. All roads lead to Prayer Cathedral. Action at the Spintex Road, 25th of November to the 2nd of December. Don't stay home and stream. Be present.
My studio is already hot. Home Affairs is brought to us by Indomie. Tastes great. Frital, making life memorable. Royal Feast Premium Rice. Taste of togetherness. Royal Feast Premium Rice. We welcome you on board. Please stay. Christmas, bring us bags of rice to give away. That's our request. So from next week, start packing the bags of rice in. But we're grateful that you choose to bank on us. Thank you very much. My guests are seated and I am excited, ready to learn. If you're not a feminist, who are you? You're either a feminist or you are what?
A non-feminist.
I say I'm a liberalist.
I don't tag myself.
Okay, so yesterday a friend and I were having I said, look, I'm a liberalist.
I don't tag myself, so people's impression of me depends on whatever they call me is their impression of me.
So
but I'm me.
You're you.
I don't even know what a feminist is.
So if you're a liberalist like me and you believe in live and let live, I think it's there already, but Charlie, let's also make our voices heard. It's an interesting world. Ohene, you're a gifty auntie.
Yes, ma'am.
My very big sister.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah, it is. You know, when it comes to you, I am like one of the most privileged people.
Why?
You know, when I invited her to come on the show, around 3-4 p.m. yesterday, and she was like,
that's what she does to me.
You this girl, okay, wait, let me make arrangements. And then she's here. You know, some people will have to write letters for months and wait for responses before they can catch a glimpse of her. And some of us, like ours. I mean, I am a big girl like that.
I won't even like you.
Good morning, you're welcome, and good to see you.
Good to see you too.
And this woman I have been talking to for long. Today I have her in my studio. Let me try and remember all the names. Gertrude, Abba, Ewukubekwe. Good morning and you're welcome.
Thank you. Good
Great.
morning.
We're in for a good conversation this morning. A peep into the marriage of a feminist. First of all, I just want to find out, you have been doing a lot of advocacy work around for long, but in just like 2-3 minutes, I'd want to find out from you how you became an advocate for women. What brought about it? What motivated you?
Thank you, and good morning to all the listeners. I would say it's self-motivated.
Okay.
Growing up, when I was a very little girl, anytime I went to the market, I saw women predominantly selling in the scorching sun, some carrying babies. I saw women sweating and carrying heavy loads, and I was a child. I saw women with Quitilo. It's a fungal infection of the fingers. And I began to ask myself, what is it about woman that warrants her or subjects her to all these negative things, suffering? And I started asking myself so many questions. Most of the time, men were the ones driving in cars. Most of the time, Men were the one I saw bare-chested because the sun was hot. What is it that is limiting woman from exposing her skin a little because of the conditions which weren't created by her anyway? Why is it only women who are supposed to make things work in the house? Why is it that it is a woman around me that always puts food on the table, that always had to merge their societal responsibilities with homekeeping? Why is the woman blamed when the child goes wayward? Why is the woman blamed when the man misbehaves? And so I told myself that it's not fair. And by age 11, I had formed my opinions about males and females. And I was determined never to allow myself to be subjected to all these. And as I grew up and I started reading and listening, no marriage was attractive to me because the sex that the sex that I'm tied to, that is woman, is the one who always bears the burden of marriage. Women have been made to feel that to be married is a privilege and it is a favor being done to them. I decided I wasn't going to get married.
Wow.
Because I didn't see it as a favor. I see marriage as an agreement between two people. Nobody married me. I married him and he married me. We agreed to marry each other. So when did it become a favor? Why should I feel incomplete if I don't have a man by my side? And when did God say that? In fact, God actually said that it is good. When a man finds a woman, it is a good thing. I haven't heard him saying the other way, that when a woman finds a man, it's a good thing. And everything has been turned upside down. I tried to find answers. This strong position I hold has been buttressed by people I have heard, like this beautiful woman sitting beside me, like Angela Jamnabwaji, like my pastor, Reverend Enoch Thompson. My opinion has been buttressed by hearing them speak. And then, I told myself that, wow, I'm not abnormal anyway. And then I resolved not to allow my uniqueness to be clouded by societal norms and expectations. I want to live long, healthy, and happy.
See, I'm looking at you. You should see the passion with which she's speaking. She's speaking. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can join in the conversation on social media as well. So that's how...
Mine is intrinsic, I must say.
Sure.
Nobody told me to be. And because of that, I respect children, because you may never know the questions going on in the mind of a child.
That they're unable to ask.
Yeah. We have to be very careful the way we behave around them. Children are wise. Children can be critical, analytical. And I use myself as an example.
Wow.
What I see in society is what has molded me. It would have a different effect or impact on another female. It would let the female believe it and say that, oh, okay, I need a man, so I'm not married, so I'm not complete. Society influences us more than what we learn in school. And I find some of the advice given by the older ones as indoctrination rather than education. Wrongful indoctrination. And most of the advice I see is based on what has gone on over a long period of time, and they haven't stopped to find out the effects that the norm is having on humanity.
But fast forward, You've been married for 13 years.
Yes, and counting. And happily so.
Oh, wow. Okay, I will come back to you to find out. Okay, so what made you change that position? Because I remember you mentioned that at a point you told yourself you were never, ever going to get married because of all these. So what changed your position? Don't hold on to that answer yet. What changed your position? How did you end up being married? And how are you married? That's making me ask, what kind of man marries a woman like this? You know, what must the man possess to be able to marry a woman? I mean, yeah.
You can call me Aisha, Mawena, whatever.
She will be sharing, you know, some of her views. Like some. I mean, at a point, it was very interesting when she and Ohidewi disagreed on some of the points. I'm like, yeah, you know, some of the views are so strong. She stands by those in her marriage. And she has been married for 13 years. The man must be an angel of some sort. I'm sure a lot of you, when we finish, we'll unveil the man. Let me come to you, Hideyuki. How many years have you been doing this advocacy?
Oh, 3. Advocacy?
Yeah.
Oh. Many years. Many years. See, I'm 48 going on 49.
Yes, big woman.
So.
Big girl.
Well, it's 40 plus, oh.
Wow.
40 plus. Because you see, I was raised by a single man.
Okay.
Since I was a baby. And he raised me and taught me that there was nothing I could not achieve as a woman.
Right.
He socialized me and he really drummed it into me that I can achieve anything I put my mind to. So growing up, when people were playing with dolls and all that, your big sister was making a car from milk and Milo tins and all that. I was just allowed to be creative, to do what, you know, I want to do and to dream and dream big. And there was nothing like, you a woman, don't do this, don't do that. I still have a mark from Chaskele, you know, playing Chaskele and all that. So that was how I grew up. And I grew up always encouraging young ladies, I mean, telling them you can dream. So when I came out from under my father's wings to go to secondary school, and fortunately for me, I went to a girls' school, Fantiman Girls Secondary School. They call us man side.
Right.
We do everything. We stage course. We do demo. We do everything, you know. So still that thing of there's nothing a woman can do was, and then I came to GIJ, and as a woman, you can't do this. You can't. I was just wondering what was going on. Thank you. I was always fighting. I had a friend, in fact, she's still my friend. She'll go and look for trouble, come and tell me, and then I'll go and fight. Sometimes without understanding what it was really about. But the fact that you are hustling a woman, you know, or fight about it. But what really drove me into mainstream advocacy and, you know, dirtying my hands was when I started coming on air in 1997. And all the stories started flying, all because I was a woman, a young woman. I had a voice, I had an opinion, you know, I had a conviction. And so then there was somebody sleeping with you or somebody who's giving you money. And there were men coming on saying the most ridiculous things, but really nothing was being said about them.
Yeah.
So even at GBC, I was always lobbying, let's bring more women, let's bring more women on. We started getting some of the women on. Same things were being said about them. And then I went to school to do my master's. Thankfully, I met a strong feminist who said, Gifty, you have two options. Either you stay here and be my teaching assistant, or you go back to Ghana and decide that you're going to stand up for women and do something to change the lot. She was married to an African, a Zambian, you know. You're going to do something, be a voice. Because we have done so much here, I've seen what you can do. So I came back and I said, hey, let's create a platform.
Even more empowered.
I was even more empowered. Then I met Professor Kenatifa and Dr. Yao Graham, and they taught me and made me understand what feminism was all about. Then I started wearing it as a badge. Yeah. In fact, as a huge necklace. that this is me, this is a feminist, this is what we are going to do, this is what I believe in, this must be done, this is what should be done. It shouldn't take anything away from you.
Being a woman.
Some people still, like Aisha said, I mean, I'm okay with Aisha saying she doesn't want to be tagged. Some say I'm an activist, I'm an advocate, but I'm not a feminist because people find the word feminist offensive. For God's sake, people find it offensive that my title is Oheneyere. But they'll be okay with me being called Nanayere. Whatever you do, people will not be satisfied with it.
Of course, you won't
just
have
stand up.
tagging along.
Thank you. Just stand up for what you have, what you are, and live and walk the talk. And then people will come to accept you and believe in what you do.
All right. We will. So now we understand where, you got your strong views and your started advocacy from. Now, when I read something and I saw you nodding when you were in the production area, that when we talked about the fact that I mentioned that a video popped up in The Guardian last year, 2017, that says that you cannot be a feminist and get married because the institution of marriage curtails women's freedom. You have been married for 3 years now. You have been married for
18 and counting.
When Ohenere was getting married, it was as if the whole Ghana was at a standstill, eventually she's gotten married. Apparently, she needed a man. She was hiding behind the fact that now that she has... Okay,
oh my God.
I remember one of the headlines. Renowned feminist finally married.
Oh my God.
Okay. And then Aisha had stood so strong and said she never was going to get married because of all of these. Then eventually she got married and she's been married for 13 years. Now, feminism, as I read in black and white, it's what? Advocacy for women's rights on the ground of equality of sexes. Basically, that's what you're advocating and fighting for. And I will call it live and let live. You understand? In my own simple language, live and let live. I have said, and I say all the time, that the basic rule that should guide every relationship, according as I believe, is what the Bible says about love your neighbor as yourself. For me, it's that basic. I don't want to be insulted. So I should know that he or she doesn't want to be insulted also. You don't want to be beaten, so they don't want to be beaten. You don't want to be abused. So whatever it is that inflicts pain on you, you should know that it might be inflicting pain on the other person. So if you love your neighbor as yourself, you will basically treat them the way you would like for yourself to be treated. But then it's not always like that. These ideals don't exist everywhere. What has really brought about the conversation about feminism and men and marriage is, in recent times, it has looked like war. Like women should be, should rise up against men. Sometimes we forget that it is the ideals that we're fighting. We're fighting ideologies. We're fighting inequality. And then we end up dealing with
individuals.
Exactly. We end up dealing with man as man and woman as woman. So men are fighting women and we call it equality. And we call it what? Feminism or whatever name we give it. And then the whole thing is confusing. Now I want to find out, with everything that you believed in and stood for, and the fact that women were treated badly, men had, and to some extent it is true. Men had their way in, a lot of things. There are things men will do that a woman dares not do, But regardless, you settled and you got married. What changed? Or what did the man have that made you decide that, okay, I am this strong and fighting for women and don't want women to be put down, but I am going to get married to you. And you know that in our society, even in the Bible, marriage comes with responsibilities. How did you settle at that?
Okay. First of all, I had never been against marriage.
Okay.
The fact that I grew up in a broken home doesn't mean that I never believed in marriage. One of the things that I admired most growing up was going to a home and seeing a mother, father seated at a table with the children eating together. It was a picture that I always admired. But then I told myself, it is not the ultimate in life.
Okay.
I can be an achiever. I can, dream and be a go-getter and make impact with or without a man by my side.
Right.
I remember I granted an interview years ago and I said, listen, I'm a woman on the move. If marriage catches up with me, that's fine. If it doesn't, I am going. I'm not going to sit at one place, fold my hands and wait for marriage. And of course, a lot of people came. But then you realize that this one, is this really what I want? Do I want to settle, as you use the word, or I want to enjoy life? I want to be able to achieve my dreams. I want to be able to make an impact, because making an impact is so important to me. Now, what made the difference this time is that the man, when he came, first of all, he came with some, there's a spirit, there's a gun word that during the court hearing, they use, there's a gun word they use, like something entered into him. He wasn't afraid. He had heard all those things, but he still came. He insisted, he persisted. It took 3 years. In fact, beginning, I met him within, I think, 4 months. He blackmailed me and proposed to me in front of his family. Oh. I couldn't say anything, so I said yes. But then it took 2.5 years after that before I finally said, okay, you can go ahead and do it. It doesn't mean that he had everything, but I realized I could be myself around him. He believed in my dreams. He actually took pride in who I was and what I was doing. He was willing for me to make an impact in his life as well, and take him along on my journey, and also encourage him on his journey. I realized that we both wanted the same thing, make an impact. He's a legacy hunter. He wants to do something to help his people. I have something that I can also contribute. He also has something that he can contribute to my life. He didn't mind that I hated cooking. He didn't mind that I'm, all over the place. As they say, that one is not it also became a battle. All over the place, women. Well, I am all over the place. Today I'm here. Just 2 days, I went to Akachi, Aveno. You should have seen me dance bobobo. You would check me out in Agbaja. I was traveling. I was going everywhere, on every platform, speaking my mind, being assertive, But he didn't seem too bothered. Every now and then he would chip in and said, hey, today, dear, you went this way, but not in a forceful way that you can't do this, you can't do that. It's even this program coming. We had a conversation. He was like, do you want to go? Are you going? I said, yes, it's going to be fun. You're going to say, oh, okay, you're all the best. But he too, he's a feminist. And I said, well, we live to see, and we want to. So I felt comfortable in that environment, or I felt comfortable with him, that I wasn't going to be limited in any way by being married to him. He was very liberal. He had very interesting ideas of who a woman or marriage should be. No cut out rules of a woman must do this and marry this, that. His belief was, I don't know if it's changed now, that, listen, you go into marriage with very limited expectations. You all put what you have on the table. If you have extra, it's a bonus.
So is it more like you choose or you settle to marry a man who, for lack of a better, word, or butter your bread?
No, heck no. Butter my bread.
Butter your bread in this sense. These are your ideals.
Yes.
And this is what you believe in.
Yes.
And you go in actually looking for somebody who will just tag along.
No.
And that's it?
No, not tag along. Somebody who believes in your dreams, and you also believe in his dreams.
Because you see,
it's partnership.
Dreams,
yes.
Some of the dreams, as we preach it, as advocates, female advocates preach it. are sometimes very offensive to men.
It depends on the type of man,
Okay.
the kind of man. If, for example, I sit here and say I hate cooking, somebody wrote on Facebook inbox, oh, don't say that you hate, you are married to a chief, and don't say that your husband cooks. And I reply to them, don't ever give this advice to any woman or any man. What is wrong with a chief cooking? What is wrong with a chief cooking? What is wrong with a woman who hates cooking? I didn't say I don't know how to cook. Yesterday when he got home, I had cooked. He came, he ate. Sometimes he cooks. I mean, most of the time, not sometimes. He cooks. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. So if a man finds it offensive that as a woman, I remember one of his friends made a comment that, oh, as for us, we like eating. So as a woman, you should, up to now, the friend doesn't like me. And I also doesn't, I can't, but not that I don't like him, but I can't be bothered by him. Whether he likes me or not, this is it. This man finds me. He knew who I was. He knew what I liked, what I didn't like. He said, this is the one I want to marry. I also knew who he was and what he can do and what he doesn't want to do. I said, okay, I'll marry him. So it is the two of us believing in each other. It's just like we traveling. I mean, I like this analogy that Dr. Amma Edwin uses all the time. If we meet a circle, I can't say by force, I'm going to Tamale, so come and let's go. Because when you are going to Takrade, but if I am going to Tamale, you are going to Wenchi, or you are going to Wa, there's a route that we can travel on. Well, that will pass through where I am going for you to reach where you are going. And there's maybe when we get to where I am going, and we may decide to settle there, or I may decide to continue because there's something better there. But we have a route, we have a journey that we are traveling on. But then if we have different journeys, if we have different dreams, I can't force you. I think any woman or a man will be doing himself or herself a disservice when you say, I want to tag along somebody's dreams, or I want the man to tag along. It will be unfair. That you must do what I believe in, or I must do what you believe in. We must have a converging point. We must learn how to merge our dreams. Is it possible? There's some dreams that can merge. Water and oil, it's not possible.
So these conversations will have to be had.
Yes.
For understanding to be
yes.
Before you proceed with
exactly.
anything. Okay. So I will come back to
okay.
you. Hopefully we have time
okay.
to find out. There are lots of people out there who believe that the ideals of some feminists, even, sometimes you go on social media, and that's how come I'm talking about the married ones. They're married, and sometimes the views they express. You see, yesterday I was chatting with a colleague of mine about this topic, and then he kept saying that, look, what annoys him is they don't say some men. Most of the feminists will say that you have just about 5% of men who are in the category of your husband. And the 5 or 10%, they are not much. So still, batch them all together and condemn all of them. There is some of the advocacy, like I said, some of the things we preach, for me, sometimes are very offensive to men. And sometimes, for women who haven't really matured and have a certain form of understanding, will misunderstand it.
Sure.
And then it ends up creating problems everywhere. Are we thinking about the approach as well? Or for us, where we want, equality, we want equal rights. Let's have, let's reign on equal platforms. So because of that, we really don't care what we say, or really don't care the approach. But the most important thing is that we want to get here, and we don't care who we thread on to get there.
That's
we'll
wrong.
come back to look at the approach. But let me come to you, Aisha. For how long did it take for you to get married after you had after the man came along?
It took 2 years for me to say, okay.
Or give it a try.
I'll give it a try.
You should see the look on Aisha's face.
I know. Okay. People are seeing.
You can see me.
So I am, for somebody like you who also had those strong views. I mean, I don't know if you would want me, let me not just say it because maybe it was for my ears only. Yesterday she said something, I'm like, hey, really? Like, when I have a bit of time, I'll whisper it, and if you will say it out there. I'm like, okay, wow. What did the man have eventually? Because you had resolved. She said she wasn't against marriage. She actually loved the marriage setting. Mommy, daddy's children eating together and all. But you didn't want to be married because of your experiences. What made you change your mind? What did the man have that made you decide that, okay, now I will give it a try?
Thank you. The man didn't have anything material.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually talking about...
I know, I understand. But he had so much that couldn't be measured by any scale. He had love. And let me quickly say that by love, I don't mean sex. The Bible tells us that the man is the leader of the family. My husband understood what leadership meant. He was able to demystify my fears. He was able to replace ego, which I saw predominantly with men, with wisdom. And that ability made him master loving a woman from a knowledge point of view. He understands the uniqueness of a woman. He understands the complexities of a woman. He understands the fact that the very makeup of a woman subjects her already to so much stress. And he has the magic to soothe it.
Wow.
My husband
wow.
is not a hard man. He is soft, but tough. And I find so much strength in his softness. Hard things break, hard things don't last. But because my husband is tough, he is malleable. He's ready to be the leader that Jesus described in the Bible. That leadership means servanthood. And so he led me into how to treat a man like a king. My husband is one of the happiest people in the world.
Hallelujah, somebody.
Wow.
He has mastered leadership, and he's been able to lead me into treating him like a king by setting the example.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, if my husband believes that this entity called marriage is a mutual responsibility, and if my husband believes that a false balance is an abomination, and where in any given environment where there's no balance, there is chaos. And that's a reason why the sun hasn't fallen on us. Balance holds everything in creation, including our health. When your system is unbalanced, you are sick. And the same applies to marriage. My husband understands that leadership doesn't mean dominance. It doesn't mean oppression. Leadership means holding your hand and teaching you what to do. From the narrative, my husband is not a perfect person, but from the narrative, I would say my husband is close to perfection. Like I said earlier on, he understands the complexity of a woman's makeup. And he's not a biologist. So he has mastered leadership. And I want to stress on this point. He has replaced ego with wisdom. And any man who is able to do that will be the happiest man on earth.
Will surmount the toughest woman on earth.
I tell you.
Nothing is stronger than wisdom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I can't even find the words to describe. But he surprised me. He surprised me by his ability to get me to change my mind. He didn't force me. Like I said, he led me into knowing who a man should be and how to treat a man.
So now
I cook for my
I was gonna
husband,
ask you.
and he cooks for me. I wash for
Would
him.
you have a problem if he wasn't cooking for you?
I would. It would have confirmed my impressions. I would. But that wouldn't be a strong point because it wouldn't have been his fault.
Thank you.
It's a norm that has been practiced over a long period. My point is that the fact that what is not right is ancient still doesn't make it right.
Today.
That's the point. And so when we married, it wasn't anything that he was able to cook. And I couldn't cook everything. So he taught me how to prepare. I didn't like ampesi, and where he comes from, they eat.
Do you believe in traditional roles and responsibilities of women at home?
I don't, because I don't know who set those traditions.
Well,
I believe that
it's very cultural to us. And that one, I mean,
culture is relative.
You won't. I mean, yeah, you can argue it all you want, but that's what it is.
Culture is relative, and even though we all accept a certain culture, you would find individual differences. And so I believe that culture should be flexible, and culture shouldn't be imposed on anyone. I believe in the responsibilities that I am entitled to as a woman.
And what are these responsibilities?
I believe that as a woman, if I want, in the union, if there should be a pregnancy, I am the one supposed to carry that pregnancy. I believe
that's
a biological
phenomenon. That's not
so I believe in my biological roles as a woman.
Okay, those ones you don't contend with them.
I do not contend with them. But when it comes, I don't even know what the traditional roles of women are. In that entity called marriage, I believe that it's a mutual partnership, and both of us have to make it work.
And then, if I may come in, this thing about traditional roles and cultural roles and what have you, how did it start? It is the way we were. Let's go exactly.
And
so it can change.
But doesn't make it right.
Let me just
hold on a second.
Factor it into your submission. People have argued that back then, way back then, the days of our great grandparents, they married for ages.
Yeah.
With these roles on their mind.
With one party always enduring.
Takes care of the home, the man does this, and their marriages lasted.
You see,
in this day and age, that knowledge abounds for us. I'm being a devil's advocate.
Yeah. What's more important, a lasting marriage or a happy marriage? What's more important, being married and the marriage adding to who you are, to your well-being, or a marriage that lasts? A lot of people are living a mirage. They cry, they go home, the men are drinking to death and go to Kolebu, go and check their renal unit. It's choked because people are killing themselves and they want to be controlled by societal expectations and norms, even if it's killing them. Who are you living for?
Aisha, hold on. I see you're very emotional about this subject. But
one of the things that I'm, happy about by marrying a chief is by understanding the traditions and cultures, at least from the area where I'm married into. I ask questions, and some of these things, you go back to our Nancy stories, our folklore. Wasn't Nancy cooking? Didn't he pretend to be dead and want to live on a farm?
He was very greedy.
Very greedy. Thank you very much. But when he was on the farm, wasn't he cooking for himself? When they went to the men were hunting and were going for days. When they're cooking in the bush and eating. When they came back home, Didn't they prepare what, my husband's specialty now, in Puso, when they preparing it at home, when they were pounding fufu, wasn't the woman sitting down and the man pounding? Haven't you seen men doing a waka, just stirring the fufu and pound at the same time?
Often those are bachelors.
Some are married.
How many married
Some
men?
are married. Go to the rural areas.
That's very
Go
Rather
to the rural areas. Their wives are pregnant and they will do it for them. Sometimes people say that, your advocacy, you have go to the rural areas. Listen, when a woman is beating up, if a man is misbehaving at a dumasa, at dawn, the woman will come and stand by the window and shout, Nana Sakwa will be Mikunu, and use the name Why? And you saw the man the whole time, everybody will hear that kind of the behavior. She will not take it lying down. But here in Accra, we will wear apply our makeup beautifully to cover up the bruises and hold our head.
What are we supposed to do? Fight back?
Not fight back, not scream it. But fortunately for you, you have systems in place here. If you have to report. If you have to walk out. You need to tell the man that this is a no. I will not accept this. You see, we endure too much in the relationship period, and then hoping that when we marry, and they will tell you, why are you your best sister? Or when he marries, he will change, or she will change. But then, when they marry, they become worse.
So let me just ask you a very simple question, like very personal question, and a prying question at that. I mean, could it be that your husbands are listening?
Oh, my husband is listening.
My husband is not around.
And can you say on authority that they are happy and in support of the things you're saying?
My husband is the happiest man on earth. My husband is the happiest man on earth because he's been able to find the magic that brings out the best in me.
No,
and I call that leadership.
Okay. I'm talking about, the conversations
that we are having right now.
Yes. Yeah. And your views on some of the issues because what I am getting is that if you're in, you shouldn't endure. I'm not saying that every marriage has its own challenges.
Definitely.
But what I am getting from the conversation we're having is that you should not endure any pain or any challenge in your marriage.
No, that's not what we are saying.
Okay.
First of all, my husband knows I'm going to be here. And whatever I'm saying here is not different. I've said this when I was single. I've said that since I got married. And I'll keep saying it. Being married or being a feminist doesn't mean that every least thing you get up and you walk. Aisha Gertrude used a phrase that he's replaced ego with wisdom. The empowered woman, the feminist, is wise. She knows what she can handle and what she can't handle. It doesn't mean that we are saying that if a man cheats on you first time, you just get up and you go. He doesn't maltreat you, just get up and go.
Easy.
Or what? Yes.
So, it's interesting. Yeah. So, for instance, if, let me ask Aisha this question. I'll come back to you, don't forget.
Okay.
If it happens, for instance, that your husband slips, with all your beliefs, would you forgive and, try to make it work again?
I started by saying that we are Christians and Christianity preaches forgiveness.
Okay.
And I also mentioned earlier that my husband is not perfect. But given the narrative, he's close to perfection. Okay. And so, he's allowed to slip. And we are human. Yeah. And I'm allowed to slip.
Okay. She settled it for me. I was just going to ask her that. So
I said the false balance is an abomination. So whatever I can tolerate in you, you should be able to tolerate the same in me.
Exactly.
Okay.
You said it yourself. Live and let's live. Live and let's. What you can do, know that I can also do about 10 times.
And like the greatest commandments that you stated earlier.
Exactly. The fact that I don't do it doesn't mean that I can't do it.
I'm a human being. I'm not an angel.
I have a choice.
But that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be the norm.
That is why I don't like this. Like one jacket for every woman. That you see a woman, staying in. I have seen a woman, right, who was in a very abusive marriage. not being beaten, but the husband was, something else disrespectful. And she said, Nana,
emotional
abuse. He said, listen, I have toughened myself. All that he does, it reaches here and it's off. At the end of the day, right, when he messes up, a time will come. He will not be able to do these things. And then he will be at my mercy. And it did happen. I thought she was mad. At that time, I was young. When you become like you've been born again, new. You are all over the things. You grow into everything. The views that maybe Aisha had at age 11, before she got married, some of the things she has matured. She has learned how to deal with, how to go around some of these things. An empowered woman is humble. She is unteachable. And she not teachable because you are forcing her.
No.
She knows that, okay, this what you're saying, it makes sense. It can work if we apply it. There are things that I don't like doing. My husband will do it. It's not a fight. He won't fight with me. Why you haven't cooked? He will go and cook. And I was raised to be grateful.
Like sweeping.
You don't like it.
I don't know how to iron.
I don't like it.
And
I love ironing. I love ironing, but I hate washing.
I'd rather wash and not sweep.
I hate washing, but
I hate washing. I don't wash. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
I was raised to be grateful. Every little thing, from whoever it is, I'll say everything you do for me, I'll say thank you. So for the 6 years that I've known my husband, he's always quick. And every time I'll say thank you. Every time I'll say thank you. In fact, last night, the water is not coming up. After bathing, I made water for him to go and bath. It doesn't take anything away from me as a woman. And he didn't say thank you. He still hasn't said it. This morning after bathing, I made water because he has to leave home early. I made water for him to go and bath. Because I don't want any fight over, bathing and who you're having bath. He says I have OCD when it comes to bathing and water.
God.
Yeah, he tells the people that I stayed in the bathroom for 2 hours. I don't mind. I love bath. I like kind of thing. There are things that I will do it. And if I want you to do it, I will create the environment there for you to do it comfortably without a hassle. The same way he does it for me.
So when it is not coming, that's when there is a problem.
When you are being taken for granted. If he cooks and I get home and I call, I get home, there's no food, and so why today you didn't cook? What kind of course he will stop cooking
because it's not his duty.
Disrespected. It's not his duty.
Neither is it mine. We are building a home together.
When he got home yesterday, there was food he ate. If there wasn't food, he would have cooked something. He would have done his kontomire. When he got there, it was kontomire. He ate. And he's okay.
Something when we were having the conversation prior to this, she said that the day her husband starts seeing cooking, her cooking, cleaning, and all that as her responsibility, that's the day she'll stop.
And it applies to every reasonable, or let me use the phrase, empowered person. You do not take people for granted. That is their love language. That is their commitment. We've been to school. My dear, we can afford to pay and do things. There were things that, and my husband, he knows, there are things that I used to do. He started taking them for granted. I stopped because there was washing machine. So I'll go and put it in down and do it. But I was doing it first, just manually. And he always asks, but why do you do this manually? It's on air. I can't say it. Why do you do this manually? But I said, I love doing it. But then I realized that he just took it to be so I stopped. So now we'll go and put it in the washing machine, and then the machine will wash it, and then we'll go. Because anyway he doesn't mind. In the first place, he thought I was just stressing myself too much by using it. So we'll go back to. And there are things that I've realized that I also was taking it for granted. So he stopped doing it. Yeah. So now I've started asking for it and being nice about it. Luckily he went on Wednesday when he was coming. He bought me my favorite sandwich. Because those times I was pregnant. So I was on ending, so I stopped saying, I wasn't saying thank you. So he stopped saying that. Now I realized that it wasn't coming, so I just thought about it. Wisdom. So I started, I used to love it. I used to appreciate it. So, this week when he was coming, he bought it for me. And I was so thankful. Even last night I said thank you again. So today when he's coming, he can buy. Thank you. He can buy another one.
And so you see, none of the two people should see any role as a sole responsibility for the other. Henry really stated.
Why
earlier.
don't women buy cars for their husbands?
Women do buy. They do.
What evidence you have that they don't?
They do.
I need help.
Look, most houses that couples stay in are for the women, but because of society,
the women don't say.
Women don't say.
On Wednesday, we asked a very interesting question on air on Drive Time. Said that we're asking for the most expensive thing a woman has ever given a man, and we said we're not talking about the sugar mommy situation in a very regular amorous relationship or marriage. And the men were like, oh, handkerchiefs, boxes, wallets, and all. Those are the things the women will buy for you. And when we flipped it the next day, come and see women. Somebody sent a message. Her husband bought her a brand new Toyota Highlander. Men are buying houses. Men are buying this. We're asking that we should be equal. But then those huge things, most women don't think that it is their responsibility to do.
No, you see, you've used the word because they don't think it's out of love.
Wait, let me rephrase. They don't think it is in their
place to do it. Okay.
It is in the man's place to do.
No.
So when the man is also thinking that it's in your place to take care of the home, why do some of us have issues with it?
And that's why we have to handle this very delicately. We said earlier on that there have been perceived rules as to how men and women should behave. For instance, it's believed that men should be the breadwinners of a given home. It's believed that women should be the ones to keep the home. We are saying that we shouldn't make it rigid. We shouldn't make these things rigid. It's good for the man. And I'm not surprised that most men buy expensive things for their wives. Some do to mask.
Thank you.
To compensate.
No, to mask.
You are beating up.
No, you can't compensate me for abusing me in any way. But they do it to mask or cover up.
There are inadequacies.
Not inadequacies, but some bad things they might have done. Yeah. Some do it because it makes them feel powerful. It gives them the platform to even lord it over you more. Some do it to make you shut up. I'm not saying in itself it's bad. We can do it for each other. And most men do that because most men are more economically empowered compared to women. It doesn't mean that women don't have the desire to do it. Look, some women are staying in a house they have built with their husbands. And why? Why should you go broadcasting?
There are aspects of this conversation that I would want us to still have. For instance, if you were with how strong, for instance, you two are the ones with me here in this is how strong you two are. And you believe that my views matter, yours matter.
Yeah. Yes.
And we are, for instance, having a conversation. So you're having a conversation with your husband, you're trying to reach an agreement. And you realize that your husband is towing a certain line, you're towing a certain line. And it is becoming argumentative. You're not seeing it clearly. And this is the way you think he wants to go. Do we, at a point, let the man have his way?
Yes.
We agree to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And at a point, you agreed to go my way.
No, we don't agree to go your way.
Yeah. Not always. We will not.
I mean at a point where we're not agreeing.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're not agreeing.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily have to agree all the time.
You're saying C.
Yeah.
And it is like that.
Yeah.
And we're not agreeing.
Yeah.
Who is supposed to back off?
Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Yes.
Who is supposed to? It's not a matter of supposed to. Out of wisdom, I can decide that, okay, let it slide. If it's not going to affect me in any way, it's not going to kill me, it's not going to demean me, it's not going to rob me of my dignity, my finances. Maybe finances you can let it go because really, it's not a do or die affair, But so I can let it go. But there will be times when you will also have to understand that you have to give in to my way.
Okay, great. You will have to understand.
Yes.
But we are not reaching that. I'm saying, you know, most of the time we have agreements. We talk about things we agree.
Then we get
are all
you
on the same page often.
Let me give you a typical
But
example.
as often as we are not on the same page, who should, you know, whose ideas should take precedence?
Let me give you a typical example. My husband has traveled. I wasn't in favor of the journey. And so I told him that I'm not in favor of this journey you're embarking on. But I prayed for him that God protects you, God takes you and brings you back. I allowed him to have his way. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. The beauty of the union I have, let me speak from my point of view, is the fact that we respect our individualities and we're able to beautifully merge our individual differences with the entity.
You're getting your. I don't. My time is up. I'm actually saying.
Let me give you an example and see if I understood your question. So,
Hold
for
on,
instance,
hold on.
I don't want to get pregnant.
It is not a matter of a decision that affects the two of you.
The two of us.
A decision that will affect the two of you or the family. I'm just asking that. As often as you do not agree, whose opinions takes precedence?
Naturally, for me. It's the man's opinion that takes precedence.
All right.
It depends.
It still depends.
It depends. It depends, yes. I decide to let it go, but sometimes I may decide, no, I'm not agreeing. This will not happen. It will not happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are times that it gets to that point.
They get to that point that, no, I don't, okay, this is what you want to define. The decision stalls.
Wow.
Yeah, but sometimes, I agree that, okay, fine, this is what you want to do. This is what you... But if I think it's going to harm us, it's going to affect me, it's going to affect our family, our baby, heck no, I'm not going to say because you're a man.
The advantage I have... The advantage I have is that... the advantage I have is that my husband...
No, listens. You don't answer the question again. You come back next week.
Next week, what's this week's date?
She doesn't have, you don't have anything. They are coming back.
Next week is 1st December.
Well,
I'm going to Idumasa. The bus trip, I'm going to teach the kids how to make beads with a haban green leaf.
We'll call you.
Okay.
I'm hoping that I wanted Afi to join us.
Okay. Agbenyo.
I'm hoping that next week she's able to, because she embarked on a journey. There are things that after there's a purpose for this conversation. Right. The purpose I haven't stated yet. By the time we're done next week, but I've stated the purpose for the conversation.
But in this era of cooking, let me say thank you to my mother-in-law for teaching my husband how to cook. I love her for that.
But before I go, Frital vegetable cooking oil is produced by Wilma Africa Limited. It is made from the finest palm fruits around the world, including plantations in Ghana. Due to its plant heritage, Frital is cholesterol free. It is further fortified with vitamin A, which is good for you. Your favorite Frital is the only cooking oil in Ghana, endorsed by the Ghana Medical Association. When it comes to cooking, you can never go wrong with Frital. Frital, making life memorable. And are you quality conscious when it comes to selecting a rice brand? Are you a homemaker who puts family first and still appreciates happy gatherings around mouth-watering dishes? Yes, then you need to meet Royal Feast Premium Rice, healthy, perfectly golden, long-grained rice that now comes in an attractive new package. Royal Feast rice comes out beautifully, one grain at a time. When they say one, white and bursting with exciting taste that brings people together. Any rice can fill the stomach. Royal Feast excites your senses, taste, appearance, aroma, and texture, and adds spark to every gathering. Royal Feast Premium Rice, taste of togetherness. And the Indomie Instant Noodle, tastes great. Indomie Instant Noodle is a complete, wholesome, and delicious meal that is full of essential nutrients and is rich in calcium, proteins, carbohydrates, and vitamins, so you can have it anytime, anywhere. Also, you can add your personal touch to your favorite Indomie meal by adding your choice of ingredients like vegetables, eggs, fish, chicken, meats. Prepare Indomie the way you love it. So go love it your way. For tasty Indomie recipes and other details, check out Indomie Ghana page on Facebook and Instagram. Indomie, tastes great. And Roverman Productions, in partnership with JoyFM and the National Theatre, presents Uncle White's latest play, Sex Scandal. Multiple award-winning artist Holy Boy has it all going for him. talents, good looks, money, and a beautiful wife, and an anointing like none other. After winning 7 major awards at the Ghana Music Awards and Entertainment, Holy Boy returns home to his wife Celine, only to find that he is the subject of a sex scandal. This promises to ruin not only his marriage, but also his promising career. Sex Scandal shows at the National Theatre 24-25 November, 1st and 2nd December, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Rate is 80 Ghana cedis. Tickets are available at JoyFM Shell Shops at Airport and Suman Sakaman Achimota, East Legon, Tema Community 11, Bachona and Hachutu Hotels, Mile 7 and Sakamangol, Motorway Supermarket, Frankie's Supermarket at Osu, Quick and Fine Supermarket opposite UPSA Medina. You may also call 0505 546 010 or WhatsApp 0505 546 030 to place your orders. Sponsors, Bond Savings and Loans, your success, our passion. It is powered by myjoyonline.com, Joy News, Peace FM, AdomOnline.com, PeaceFM.com, PulseGH.com, PrimeNewsGhana.com, Hits FM, Needs FM, Logistics Movers, UTV, Ghana Web, Adom TV, Daily Guide, Joy Prime, Business and Financial Times, and Webstop Solutions. Join us on Sex Scandal. Get your tickets now. Riverman Productions, be the difference. Like, I need to apologize sincerely for not being able to read your messages and pick phone calls this morning. A lot of messages. Oh my God. What I'm going to do is that Alex Abeku help me copy all these messages. Next week we'll try to read as many as we can as possible, and also activate the phone lines, because I know it's a subject that a lot of people are passionate about. But Ohenere Giftianti, thank you very much for always being a big sister. I appreciate you. And Aisha, I just found a sister too. Thank you very much for coming. She had to come with the children and all. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. And thank you all for doing the listening. We're touching down now this morning, but hopefully next week we'll continue the conversations, and I'd like to hear your opinion as well. My name is Adam Knight. Thank you, Abeku Sankofi, for the support. We're done this morning. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.